button did I use for reset? There we go. All right. Ignition. Start. Pit limiter.
There's traffic behind. Limiter's still on. Disengage it. Fastest lap for lane 120.50.
Yeah, this feels right. This just feels so right. Button push, the shifting, the way the grips are shaped. Oh, it's nice.
The track temperature's decreasing. It's now 38 Celsius.
Hey everyone, Adam here. I am stoked, excited, elated. I don't know what you want to say. There's a lot of words that you could put in here, and I am kind of finding myself speechless at the moment. I got a new package in the mail yesterday. It's this big case right down here. In fact, it's so big I can't squeeze it between my seat and the monitor over here. That's how big this thing is. It came all the way from Poland, courtesy of Jakub over at Rosso Sim Racing, and I have two beautiful new wheels that I know I said I'm not going to do review videos, but this I feel is worth mentioning. So you just saw a brief moment of some really poor driving of me in the Mercedes AMG GT3 at Charlotte Roval, and I was using this right here. This is the latest and greatest iteration from Rosso Sim Racing of the Mercedes AMG GT3 wheel. He made some updates to this recently because one of the Polish GT3 teams that uses a Mercedes in real life wanted to have a wheel that was absolutely as close as possible to the real thing that their drivers use on a weekly basis in the car for sim racing. This is it. You are not going to get any closer. Jakub did make one change from what the real car uses, and that's in the buttons. These are a slightly less expensive button than what you would find in the real Mercedes AMG GT3. But if you pay attention there, you can actually hear in that first part of this video, I mean, the clicks on these buttons are solid. There is no mistaking that I did not push one of these buttons. I mean, it is a solid click. And I love that. I love the feedback, knowing that I pushed a button and I can hear that click over. I mean, I'm using closed headphones and I can still hear it. I can feel it if the racing gets really intense. There's been more than one time, I'm probably too many to recall, to be honest, where going in for a pit stop in a VRS or IMSA race, where I may have not hit the pit limiter, or thought I did, but I actually didn't, and got a penalty for it. With this, there's no mistaking. I know that button was pushed because it's a nice solid click. I mean, if the clunkiest mechanical keyboard I have ever used still does not click as well as this button, and I absolutely love that. So enough about the buttons. Let's take this thing off the quick release here and get a quick look at the wheel. You can see we've got the Mercedes logo right in the middle. All of our buttons are labeled with the very bright yellow stickers with the black text. The stickers here are not vinyl, and I'm perfectly okay with the fact that they're not vinyl. I don't think that there's a need to be for something like this. Most of the real world race teams that I have known and spoken with, and when I was racing on 2 wheels myself back in the day, you oftentimes look for ways to save money, and using paper decals over vinyl is a good way to do that. So I think this kind of adds to some of the authenticity of the wheel, and being a massive fanboy for all things that are authentic and replicas, I am all about this. It's just absolutely perfect. The faceplate is a very solid one-piece aluminum. I don't know how well the camera is going to pick that up, but this wheel weighs next to nothing. I don't have a proper scale to give you an actual weight, but it is truly, it is light. Compared to a lot of my other wheels, this thing hardly weighs anything. In fact, the only wheel I have lighter than this is down over here in the corner. It is a MPI Max Pappas dirt wheel from a sprint car that has no buttons on it, no nothing. It's just a giant 14-inch diameter wheel with a 100mm extension on it, and that's the only wheel I own that weighs less than this, but that's rightfully so. Back to this wheel. So we've gone over the buttons. The grips are Alcantara. It's not suede. This is not knockoff. This is the real stuff right here. He's got a woman that hand sews every single one of these, and the stitching, I don't know how well the camera's going to pick this up here, but it is absolutely beautiful work. I cannot sew myself, but I'm looking at this right here, and it is just about flawless. Like, every stitch is spaced so evenly and so equally, and all around on the inside of the grips here too. The camera is not doing a great job of picking it up, but it is absolutely beautiful stuff. And I'm not quite sure what he's got underneath the grips here. It's a very firm, solid grip. It's probably, if I had to guess, I never asked him, so apologies for not knowing the answer to this. I'm guessing it's either a really, really firm polyurethane, kind of similar to like a skateboard wheel. It's that stiff. Or it could possibly be like an ABS plastic he's got under there. Either way, it's firm. But because it's shaped the way it is, I don't know how well the camera's going to grab that. Like, my hands fit right over and right in, and it is absolutely, like, this is comfort right here. This grip conforms to my hands. Now, I got smaller hands. I wear a size small glove, so if you've got larger hands, you might get a little cramped in there, but I don't quite think so. This was created, down to the last millimeter to match the wheel from the real car. If we flip over to the back here, we've got the aluminum shifters now. Previously, he was using some carbon fiber ones, but he found that there were some issues with those after a lot of long-term use. So they're now all aluminum. I did make one request with my wheel. I don't like the big clunky shifters that a lot of sim racing wheels have. And so he put some softer magnets in here, and now it feels more like a mechanical keyboard click instead of a big old clunk, 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 because I'm just not a fan of that. The gold-colored standoff is included with the wheel. There's a plastic spacer right in here just to kind of give it some room. All of the electronics and the PCB is tucked up in there. I love that all of the wires, true to form, right off the rear wheel, are kind of open in the back, but there's a nylon braiding to protect the actual wire itself. The mount for the USB connector, which is an aircraft grade 4-pin, is a carbon. Oh no, actually I take that back. This is an aluminum plate. I've seen some previous versions of this where the plate is carbon, but this doesn't need to be carbon. I think that would just add more cost to the wheel with zero benefit. So this being aluminum, totally cool. We've got the standoffs here to match the rear wheel. And then I just bolted on my HRS quick release. But I mean, as far as Mercedes GT3 wheels go, I mean, he has nailed it. I mean, this is absolutely perfect. I cannot find one single fault with this wheel, and I am a very, very picky person when it comes to wheels. I got a bit of an obsession. So yeah, I mean, this thing is amazing. I'm going to put a link to Rosso Sim Racing's Facebook page down below. That's how I found them, and I messaged Jakub. I should probably mention I did purchase these wheels. These were not sent over for free. There was no intention of me ever doing a review with these wheels, but I like what I got so much that I just could not help but share this. And just, I mean, his work is amazing. So I'm going to put this wheel down. I'm going to disconnect it from the USB cable here, and I'm going to go get the other one that is in the box, and that's the one I'm most excited about. That's the one that really, that's how I discovered Rosso, because I was looking for that specific wheel, and nobody did it quite right except for him. So I'm going to go grab that one, and I'll be back in a moment. All right, thanks to the magic of editing, what took me a couple of minutes to change out was just a little transition for all of you. And now we are back in what is undoubtedly my favorite GT3 car to ever set tire on a track. Let's just face it. I mean, I am an Audi fanboy. I always have been. I always will be. And I was so excited to get my hands on this. So let's just take it for a lap. Ignition, starter, pit limiter. Oh, this just the way the grips are shaped. The shape of the wheel itself with the actual it's just so nice. So nice. Now I've got a Sim Racing Bay official GT3 wheel sitting on the shelf right behind my monitor here, and it's the first wheel I bought when I got my Simu Cube 2, because it was a wireless wheel, and I thought, oh man, that's going to be cool. And it's an Audi-ish wheel. Audi, Lambo, they both use the same wheel. But this just nails it. The Sim Racing Bay wheel, it's got a flat plate on it, and the grips are suede. This is Alcantara. This is what is actually covering the real race car wheel. And the other issue I have with the Sim Racing Bay, and it's not a bad wheel, by all means, if you are an Audi fan, Lambo fan, and you want to have a wireless GT3 wheel, I would not hesitate to buy that wheel. But the grips are perfectly round. They're just a constant diameter throughout the whole top to bottom, I guess. And this is where Jakub nailed it. These grips actually have some shape. If you look at what the real Audi and Lamborghini wheel has, and there's a few videos of some of the GT3 teams that kind of go over, there's a rollover back here that allow your fingers to loop around and actually like grab hold. And I run crazy high force feedback, probably higher than I should at 80%. I don't think there's any reason to ever run force feedback this high. But doing so, especially on the banked oval here where there's a lot of G-forces, I got a solid grip on the wheel. It's not sliding out of my hands. I mean, admittedly, I am using gloves. That helps. Ooh, I overshot that corner. But it's just, it feels so good. The shifts, they're nice, crisp. This one has bigger magnets in it than the Mercedes wheel. I should probably be in the proper gear. So it's got a little more of a clunky feel, but I'm going to change out the magnets. I'm going to put some softer magnets in here. The button push, it's not as clicky as the Mercedes wheel, but it's still solid. I can still tell that I've pushed the button. There's no mistaking it. The rotaries have a proper detent in them so that I know I have adjusted the rotary. So if I'm going to change traction control or ABS, because I've got it set to match what's in the actual car, I can feel each click. Oh, and we understeered into the wall. That's a shame. But this thing is, it's truly amazing. So let's go ahead and let's get out of the car here and let's take a closer look at the wheel. All right, so we are out of iRacing. We are just here. We're looking at this beautiful work of art. I love it. So let's take a little closer look at it. Similar to the Mercedes wheel, the front faceplate is solid aluminum, but unlike every other Lamborghini and Audi wheel that I have ever seen, with one other exception. There's a new company out there making a Audi GT3 replica wheel. All of them have had flat faceplates, but that's not how the real wheel looks. It's got this sort of 3D, these angles to it. Let's see if I can get the camera to show that a little better. You can see there's some actual shape. And the Sim Racing Bay GT3 wheel that I have does have that flat faceplate, and it also has a perfectly round grip. This does not. This grip has some legitimate shaping and contour underneath the Alcantara. Again, hand stitched by the same woman who did the Mercedes wheel. Just absolutely beautiful work. But with this, I can get my hand around there. I've got a solid grip. My thumb fits comfortably in the thumb hole. Lots of room if you've got bigger hands. I wear size small gloves, so you can just kind of get an idea. I mean, I've got lots of room on this wheel to move around. The buttons are, again, very solid. There's a nice click. There's a good feedback, too. Like, I can actually feel when I go past that click point, so I know that I've hit it. For the rotaries, the detents, again, they're very solid without being overly stiff. So I know I've gone 1-2 clicks. I can go, and it's there. The casing on the earlier versions of this wheel was hand-laid carbon fiber. Extremely difficult to do and very, very time-consuming. So he has now gone to using these aluminum cases that are machined. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's smooth. The finish on this is great. Like, I can't see any tooling marks on here. So this is very, very solid. The shifters are designed specifically for this wheel. Now, this is the one area where I have just a tiny bit of gripe, but it's an easy fix. The reach back to the shifters, it's pretty far for my hands. But the nice part is I can just simply take the paddles, move them to the inside here, and that'll bring that back just a couple of millimeters, which is all I need, because again, I have small hands. If you've got larger hands, you'll be perfectly fine. And again, we see a nice gold standoff here, spacer. What's really, really cool, something that just goes to show the care that Jakub takes in designing and building his wheels. If you were to take a measurement from the very back of this aluminum hub to the center of the grips, and you take the Mercedes wheel and you take a measurement from the back of this hub to the center of the grips, they are within just a couple of millimeters of each other, the exact same distance. So all I have to do is take my HRS wheel side quick release, unbolt it from one, bolt it on the other, no extra spacers needed. I don't need to move my SimuCube. I mean, I'm using the SimCore mount, which makes it very easy to slide it forwards and backwards. But I don't even need to do that because the spacing here, it's the design behind all of these wheels is absolutely amazing. And I've got the big clunky magnets in these shifters. I'm going to change that out. Jakub did give me some extra magnets, so I will be doing that absolutely first thing. Just kind of one last look at the bottom of the wheel here. We can see the same aircraft connector. It's a 4-pin. With a lock nut on that, so that connector is not coming loose. The other end, unplug it real quick, is just a standard USB 2.0. I mean, every wheel has one of these, so that's not an issue. But I don't know what else to say about these wheels. I mean, they're absolutely amazing. The quality, the care, the finish that goes into these wheels. And the really interesting part that I have to say about these wheels is in all of my conversations with Jakub over the products that he makes here, and just I find them absolutely beautiful, and I'm not going to give out the price. Just go to the Facebook link below to his page, message him, start a conversation. He is a very passionate guy about racing and about his products. I'm going to be honest, and I recommend if you're interested, you get one now because he is undercharging for his wheels. Given the quality and the effort that has gone into creating this, he could easily charge a lot more, and I think people would still pay for this wheel. The one tweak that I might go back and recommend to him to change, it's a bit of a minor one. It's kind of something that I noticed is, so right here, you can see like the RPM and the start button decals that go over the actual buttons. The actual diameter of the decal itself is the same diameter as the top of the button. And I do have just a minor concern that maybe over time with my thumb, just kind of rubbing it this way, that because I can actually feel that step from the button top to the decal, as that decal might eventually wear off. But that's something that only time will eventually tell. So we'll kind of see if that does happen. I'll post up another video, but I will make sure to get with Jakub first. I don't quite know that will happen because generally, I mean, when I push down on a button, I just come right from the top. I don't come from the side. But that's kind of the only fault that I can find between both of these wheels. And it's such a minor thing that I don't even want to call it a fault. It's just a thing. And it might not be a thing long term. I don't know. We shall see. But otherwise, I am so happy to have this wheel. And I'll reach back down and I will grab the Mercedes wheel as well. And unfortunately, because of how my camera is positioned, you're not going to be able to see both wheels very well. But I mean, they are absolutely amazing. So go click the link below to Rosso Sim Racing's Facebook page. Go check out the stuff that he is building. He's got some really cool stuff that I'm not going to spoil, but he posts what he's working on there. And he's got another replica wheel coming up that I'm really hoping he is able to put into production, because it's a very difficult one to build. Nobody is doing it right now, and if he does, it's going to really put Rosso Sim Racing on the map as one of the go-to wheel builders for sim racing. So that's it. That's all I've got for today. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me ramble about some new toys. I'm not trying to show off and say, oh, look at me, I got some new toys. But I really think that Rosso Sim Racing is not a name that is as well known as like Precision Sim Engineering, GSI, Cube Controls, Grid Engineering. Those are kind of the four biggest names in wheels outside of Fanatec that I can come up with. But go say hi, go tell him, hey, you watched this video and you want to know more, because the video's not gonna, the quality is not gonna come across. I've got this back camera over here. This thing right here is an EOS R5 with a 50mm 1.2, and even that quality of camera and glass is still not going to show you how beautiful this craftsmanship is, this wheel. It's amazing, and I for one cannot wait to put a whole lot more laps on these two wheels. So that's it. That's all I've got. Thanks, everyone. Hey, just a quick follow-up here. So I mentioned about the decals on the button of the Audi wheels, and I did message Jakub, and he had informed me that the way these decals are made, it's a special type of adhesive on the back. So once you place the decal on there, you actually have to heat it up. Said that it would actually be very difficult to simply remove the decals over just the general use of you handling your wheel and pressing the buttons while sim racing. I kind of did some quick Googling based on what he had sent me, and I did find some examples of these types of decals where you have to heat up the adhesive after application, and what he says tracks. They do seem to be very difficult to just go ahead and simply peel off. So with that, that takes care of any concerns I possibly had about those decals. So yeah, go click that link down below, go check out his Facebook page, and yeah, give it a follow, a like. I don't know how Facebook works. Whatever it is you need to do, and just tell Jakub that I said hi, and we'll catch you next time.